So today, we're diving into something really powerful. Something that's been kind of hidden away and wrapped in shame for, well, millennia. Female sexual energy. But we're going to look at it in a totally different light. Not as something to be ashamed of, but as this incredible tool for spiritual growth using ancient wisdom that's been ignored for way too long.
And we're kicking things off with this really provocative question. It immediately takes this negative stereotype and just flips it on its head. It's asking us to look deeper, to wonder if maybe there's this timeless, powerful energy that we've just completely misunderstood.
For literally thousands of years, this kind of knowledge was pushed down, buried under layers of religious and cultural shame. But, it wasn't always like that. We're going to pull back the curtain on this lost wisdom that actually saw this energy as sacred, as essential for spiritual evolution.
And get this, we are not talking about a few outliers here and there. This number, it represents tens of thousands of highly realized female saints, tantrikas, and mystics from all sorts of traditions, all of whom reached higher states of being by consciously working with their sexual energy. So yeah, this is a massive, ancient lineage we're talking about.
Okay, and let's be super clear about this. This is not about over-sexualization or any of that modern fluff. The real goal here is chi cultivation, life force energy. It's serious inner work designed to build up what's called soul force, which is like the core energy of your being, all for the ultimate goal of spiritual growth.
So, to really get this, we have to totally rethink what the yoni is. That's a Sanskrit word for the female sexual organs. See, the ancients didn't just see it as a biological part for pleasure or having babies. No. To them, it was something way, way more mystical. First off, imagine it as a cosmic antenna, a kind of divine receiver that's tuned directly into the frequency of creation itself. The idea here is that this is literally how a soul gets pulled into a body during conception. It's a direct hookup to the cosmos.
Second, it's seen as a portal, the actual spot where the non-physical world of spirit and the physical world of matter, well, they weave together. It's basically a bridge between different dimensions.
And finally, the Tantric masters saw it as a living altar, a sacred space, a vortex of pure creative power where the divine feminine energy actually takes physical form. Think about that. It's not just a part of the body, it is the sacred space. So just pause for a second. If you really took on these three ideas, the antenna, the portal, the altar, and lived every single day fully aware of that power inside you, how would your life change? How would your reality shift?
Now, I want to stress, this is not some new age idea someone just cooked up. This stuff is rooted in a really deep, ancient tradition. The Tantric and Taoist masters especially, they spent thousands of years developing very specific, almost scientific techniques for working with this energy.
And this really helps you see where it all comes from. I mean, way before the formal Tantric and Taoist schools, you had ancient mystics who were already cultivating this energy. Then those masters came along and refined it, turned it into a science. And now it's your turn. You can be the one to carry this wisdom forward. You're part of this long, unbroken line.
All right, so we've talked about the big ideas, the what and the why. But what about the how? How do you actually start to cultivate and harness this energy according to these ancient practices?
Well, the absolute key is to completely flip your perspective on orgasm. For most people, it's the finish line, right? A quick release of tension and it's over. But in the tantric view, it's the starting gate. It's a gateway to this expanded state of consciousness that you can actually learn to hold on to circulate through your body instead of just letting it all go.
And this leads us to a practice called sexual kung fu, which is a Taoist term for mastering this energy. It's all about creating an internal circuit. So let's walk through it. First, you consciously gather that energy at your yoni. Then you pull that energy up your spine, all the way to the top of your head. Third, you let it flow back down the front of your body, completing the loop. And you just keep repeating this to build, refine, and store this incredible force inside you.
And the results? They're not just some woo-woo spiritual idea. We're talking tangible benefits. Things like naturally balanced hormones, a much sharper intuition, a seemingly endless supply of creative energy, and a personal presence that's just magnetic and powerful.
There's also a more advanced practice called ovarian breathing. This is where you use your breath and your focus to draw qi, that life force energy,
directly into your ovaries. The idea is to nourish your eggs, not just for physical fertility, but to actually cultivate the seeds of the new realities you want to create in your life.
So what's the ultimate point of all this? What's the end game? Well, it's not just about feeling better or being more creative. The highest purpose of these practices is spiritual ascension. It's about consciously taking part in the evolution of consciousness itself.
But, and this is a big but, there's a serious warning that comes with this kind of work. This is not a casual hobby. It's seen as an incredibly difficult path because you're working to master one of the most primal forces in human nature. It takes serious dedication, discipline, and, yeah, a real willingness to look at and face your deepest, darkest shadows.
And I love this quote because it really gets at the humility of the whole thing. It reminds us that while this energy work is a super powerful path to ascension, it's not the only path. There are many, many ways to achieve spiritual growth.
So this all leads us to a pretty profound place. The realization that you're not separate from this huge cosmic dance of existence. You are it. Your sacred center is a gateway to everything. So the final question isn't really if you have this power. The real question is, how are you going to choose to participate with it?